Hey, this is Cy Gordon from Black and Gold Audio, and in this video today I'm going to be looking at Arturia's new AudioFuse 8 Pre audio interface. It's just turned up. Let's get to unboxing and check it out. So yeah, I guess one of the biggest reasons for doing this review is to find out if the 8 Pre pushes the boundaries of multi-channel preamp recording within its price point, and meet Arturia's award-winning lineage of high-end quality for analog audio. That is the question for this review. So yeah, for me, Arturia have always been a company that you can trust in, you know, and their latest edition, this latest edition in their AudioFuse series has really kind of jumped up in the market, expanding upon the range. So the two previous audio interfaces have been squarely aimed at the smaller desktop type studios that require no more than 4 microphones, line inputs and very little outputs, and not forgetting MIDI I/O capability as well. They had these built into the first 2 versions. Great, but what about the bigger studios? And this is why, you know, we're looking at this now. You know, Arturia have released the 8 Pre and hopefully satisfied demand for more inputs and more outputs for a bigger studio, or of course a more mobile device that can cope with that many inputs and outputs as well. So upon unboxing, you get the welcome card and also your login details to create an account, and also download the AudioFuse Control Center software, which we'll come on to in a bit, as well as the Creative Suite software, which is absolutely amazing. Entirely free, containing many signal processing effects, including the rather impressive emulations of classics like the Roland RE201 Space Echo, the Moog Mini filter, the UA1176 Class A FET compressor, and some really cool preamp emulation. There's the 1973 preamp and the V76, which are based on the classic 70s SSLs and tube-driven sound. Here we have the USB connectors. So we've got USB-C connectivity for the latest devices. It is of course a requirement now, and is of course the main port on this interface linking to the computer. However, there's also a USB-C to USB connector included in the box for those of us without C ports on our systems, and it's making it much more compatible with all USB 2 specifications. There are 2 feet here for using the 8 Pre as a standalone desktop unit. These come with the brightly coloured rack mount ears, which can be used as of the rack mount ears to screw into a rack mount, or obviously they can be tipped up in another position to also act as feet with the feet for the back. There's a 15 volt PSU supplied with 4 adapter types for use anywhere on the planet. There's a really cool power connector that also screws into the back of the unit. Okay, moving on to the front of the AudioFuse 8 Pre, I just want to just really kind of firstly discuss that it's built from a really robust metal chassis with metallic rotary knobs on the front here, which are extremely smooth and accurate when at work. The unit measurements themselves, it's a little smaller than a standard 19-inch rack unit, coming in at 17.3 inches times 10.2 and 1.8. Exclusive to the front, you'll find input channels 1 and 2. These are accessible from both the front and back with XLR line input combos for automatic switching. Both these inputs contain analog balance inserts as well, this being one of the 8 Pre's unique features, and enabling users to add external line level devices into the flow path before the digital conversion of the analog signals. Very cool indeed. So moving further to the right, you'll also find the input controls for each channel, and these use rotary knob gains. There's a 48 volt phantom power pad and phase soft pad buttons, as well as a digital LCD decibel light meters with mic and line source lights. The monitoring section contains independent headphone, 1/4 inch and 3.5mm jacks, plus speaker outputs, although only 1 rotary knob is available for the volume of both headphone outputs. I would have liked to have seen 1 of each, to be honest. One thing I must note though is that I distinctly noticed an improvement in my headphone quality when monitoring. The signal was extremely clean and warm with very low noise. On the far right of the panel are also located the clock source and sample rate switches, enabling a user to easily switch between a range of 44.1 and 96k. Sync options also include lock, internal, word and ADAT. And finally, Arturia's neat on-off button, a long press to switch it off and on, also opens the AudioFuse control center software. The dual USB ADAT mode button located under the on-off allows you to connect straight to your computer as well as an audio interface, and of course link the 8 Pre via ADAT expansion to another interface, cascading them and creating 16 analog IOs. Absolutely love that. This is one thing I really like about this unit, the expansion opportunities. So on the back of the unit, the interface really shows off its connectivity options with double ADAT IOs, enabling a user to optically connect 8 digital inputs and outputs. Up to 96k in sample quality is available as well. The ADAT input can also be used to send musicians and performers cue mixes using the headphone output. USB-C connectivity I discussed earlier. There are also 8 individual analog XLR line inputs on the back of the interface. These correspond to the controls on the front, obviously channels 1 and 2 being accessible from the front and the back. Both these inputs contain analog balance inserts as well, this being one of the 8 Pre's unique features, and enabling users to add external line level devices into the flow path before the digital conversion of the analog signals. Very cool indeed. So left and right speaker outputs are also included in this section for connection to a user's chosen monitoring. The power for the 8 Pre, as discussed earlier, also screws onto the back of the unit, so no need to worry about it coming loose behind your rack. This shows the quality of the unit once again. The little details here with Arturia and this unit means so much. Oh, and I must not forget to mention that external word clock sync IOs on BNC are also included for dedicated synchronization too, and that the interface is fully compatible with Windows 7 OS X 10.8 Plus, with systems running a minimum of Intel i5, 4GB of RAM and at least 1GB of free hard drive space. Okay, then moving into the AudioFuse control center. Here you can see the input section with a 48 volt pad switches, instrument and phase switches. The great thing about this is that when you plug in a line or an XLR for a mic input, it automatically logos each of these inputs. Over here then we've got some digital inputs for monitoring our ADATs. And then we move over to the monitoring section with our level, our decibel level for our channel strip, our analog balancing, muting solos, and of course we can name each of the channel strips corresponding to what we've got, what we're monitoring. This is really useful, particularly for an instance where we may want to balance a drum kit or something like that a little bit more accurately in our own headphones. We've also got USB capability, monitoring USB capability as well. Over here we've got our master section, and we can add and remove further cue mix tracks here, being analog inputs, ADAT inputs or computer source, which is really handy as well because we can monitor computer source internally. Really handy for when we may be podcasting, for example. And of course we can group tracks. This section contains our analog outputs. We can mono our speakers and our headphones, which is really useful. Yeah, so this control center as it stands has a lot of choice, a lot of routing options. We're able to hide each section, so we can hide our analog inputs, we can hide our monitoring mix, we can hide the analog outputs, or obviously we can bring them forward at any time we feel as well. Over here then you can see the settings tab, and before that you can see the sample rate current sample rate set, the clock source, and the device mode. When we open the settings tab, we can see the audio settings, the word clock I/O, impedance in ohms and hertz, and we can jump to preferences. You'll see here we've got the clipping resets, peak meter reference level, and obviously our peak meter orange threshold from -12 up to -1. Here you can see our preferred device mode, and then the firmware update, where we can update our firmware, which is also useful when once you plug this in. I did this for the system when I plugged it in first. I actually got a notification and it asked me to upgrade the firmware the minute I plugged it in. So yeah, all in all, the control center, quite simple to use, really useful. So to test the AudioFuse 8 Pre, I got together with a band and recorded the drums, the lead and the bass guitar, using up every single input on the 8 Pre. Managed to get some really superb sound quality out of the inbuilt preamps. They provided full transparency and zero noise gain, even using mics with a low output. A clean signal was present, and I could use the massive 119 dB of input gain if required. So useful. So no need to worry about noise with this lot or weak signals either. This was something I wanted to explore and was curious about. I recorded some low levels, and then added gain to the digital files after, and the results were amazing and true to form as well. Very little noise was present against the now louder source sounds. The mic pre's really are silent and sound awesome. They're really warm too, and even after another unique feature which I used of pad boosting, where a short press on the panel's soft pad reduces level, but a long press does boost. It's a very unique feature, once again, and extremely handy for low level line mics and instruments that require more gain. So much more gain is available on this model, and Arturia's equivalent noise input of up -129 dBu stands true in this test. The 8 Pre truly does boast practically zero noise on your audio input signal. This is pretty significant next to some of their competitors' IEMs. Another test I wanted to perform was to heat up those input gains and deliver some clipping to see what would happen when they were recorded. But the interface again performed brilliantly, and the recordings did not clip. So I've had a real good few days with this AudioFuse 8 Pre. Now I put it through its paces, put it into a situation where I recorded the band in a practice session. I am extremely impressed with this unit. I did ask some questions at the very beginning as to whether it was going to stand up to some of Arturia's claims that I discussed earlier on in the video, and it certainly does. And with those extra unique exclusive additions of the pad boosting being one of my favourites, I must say that this is some piece of kit. And if you are in the need of getting one of these, I would extremely recommend going out and buying one. The audio is so warm, and I just can't talk it up enough really. It's smooth, absolutely smooth. Even at low level recording, the audio just sounds great after changing the gain in a DAW, expanding upon that. For me as well, one of the big things about this is the expansion opportunities. Being able to cascade it via ADAT with an existing audio interface. I've got an 8 in myself interface. Often I use a little bit more than that, and I struggle. So I have to swap things out, and this would be the ideal opportunity to expand. Just attaching this via my ADAT and cascading it. Brilliant, and then I'd have 16 straight away, 16 inputs of high quality audio. So yeah, really impressed with this unit. Massive thanks to Arturia for letting me review this. Certainly considering buying one myself. I would hope that you would as well. It's a huge addition to the AudioFuse range, stepping up a little bit, a lot actually. But yeah, it's definitely a winner. I'm really pleased to have been able to get the opportunity to review it. So that's it for this video. Many thanks for watching, tuning in. If you like what we're doing here, please hit the button below, like, and also subscribe. I'd love you to subscribe if you'd like to, for future video content. And yeah, that's it. Have a good one. I'll see you soon. Bye.